Hello, everyone. Satsanga to Astrology here. I'm back to talk about the end of the year and the transition into the new year, specifically for the astrology of the USA. We have a lot of events running from end of September towards March. That will be our transition into a new year, and there's a lot of things that may happen, but certainly the stars and the planets will guide us and give us clues about what could happen and what we can do about it, more importantly. So I will start talking about the Saturn conjunction to the natal moon of the chart. And this will happen February 11, 2023. However, we are already, we are already within orb starting mid-January, and it will keep in orb until mid-March approximately. So you will see that during this period, and from October until March, there are a series of transits that are happening to the chart of the United States. So last time the Saturn was conjunct the natal moon was April 7, 1993, August 16, 1993, and January 1994. So I went back and saw a few events that I think could be associated with Saturn conjunct moon. But I will explain some more about it. There was a great blizzard during that winter, you know, going from 93 to 94. And then there was a plot to assassinate President then George W. Bush it was in Kuwait, then there was the great flood of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. There was a new virus, a hantavirus, that killed people. 33 patients died. There was a great flood. The great flood killed 13 people. The hantavirus was a pulmonary syndrome. Then there was the bombing of the World Trade Center. Then the president then, Bill Clinton, signed some accords with Boris Yeltsin to stop the nuclear missiles pointing at each other. So that was a huge step for humanity, you know, deciding not to nuke each other. So then there was January 1994, it was the Northridge earthquake in California. That winter was record cold weather, cold temperatures. And by January 1994, the President Clinton calls healthcare and welfare reform, and also for the ban of assault weapons. So those are the most remarkable, let's say, events during that period. But in general, Saturn on the moon is drying the moon, and is the moon represents the public, the people of the country. So the things that can be expected are economic downturn, when people have to restrain themselves and have to become more frugal and more there would have to be more economic measures in order to restrain expenses because of lack of support. There could be also the moon is in Aquarius, right on the third house, the third house of the natal chart, and I can share the chart. I have it here. So this is the chart. I use tropical astrology, and I use whole sign houses. So in order to analyze the country chart, here we have the moon in the third house near the cusp of the fourth house, and so it is an important placement for the moon. The moon in Aquarius, of course, is people are more inclined to freedom, right? And they claim to have freedom to do things. So this is a moon that even though Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, but the modern ruler is Uranus, right? And they have been squaring for more than a year, almost 2 years, a year and a half or so. And so there is this struggle between conservatism and innovation or liberalism, and there is the need to make changes, to make progress, and as well as Saturn trying to establish structures and regulations in order to make those changes more viable and to have a safest environment, right? So this restraint of Saturn, I think, has been it's been positive in that way that helping us to incorporate the new things in a safe way. So we can expect with the Saturn conjunct the moon of the country, we can expect really hard times for people, especially in the area here where the moon falls, in the area of communications, in the area of the mind, thinking, the ideas of the people. So, and it's an air sign, so it's all about communications and verbal expression, written or verbal, or through the media. So this is a very challenging position. Let me go back to the presentation. As I said, not only because of that, but at the same time, we have Mars in Gemini, and the natal Mars is also in Gemini at 21 degrees. So we have Mars transiting Gemini and making a long stay in Gemini from is going retrograde. So it's been there for a long time, and it's gonna exit Gemini in the month of March. So it's gonna be retrograde from 25 degrees 37 minutes until January 12, 2023 at 8 degrees and some minutes. So Mars will exit the sign of Gemini in March. But meanwhile, there is going to be important aspects, which are the square to Neptune and the trine to Saturn. So to Neptune is the square is 3 times. And the first time is October 12th, 2022 at 23 degrees, is right close to the natal Mars of the United States. And then retrograde Mars will square Neptune at 11 November 10, 22 at 22 degrees, even closer to the natal Mars. And then the last square, and this is the opening square of the cycle. This is the waxing square. So it implies a crisis in action. So meaning that there is for sure something that will force people to take action. And the last one is at March 14, 2023 at 25 degrees. So the 3 squares will be right on top of the natal Mars. And if that is not enough, at the same time, we will have the Mars return. And if you see, the dates are approximately the same. We have October 5, and before we had October 12, and then November 10, and we had November 24, and March 6, and we had March 14. So here we see that there is a dynamic here. So this is not a regular, normal, smooth Mars return for the United States. Why? Well, because here we have the influence of Neptune, and it's a square, so there is a friction. So to the least, there are intrigues, especially in communications. We have a Mars in Gemini being very active, doing things, speaking a lot, and maybe gossiping as well, telling lies because of the influence of Neptune. And there could be also aggression based on faith, for example, based on religious or spiritual ideas, or even war based on misinformation or disinformation. So it is important to pay attention to the news that we hear, even if they are from reliable sources. We need to use our own reasoning, our own common sense to evaluate if those news, if that information is real or not. So it is a period of time since now, October, beginning of October until the month of March, and there could be a lot of media trafficking with ideas and exchange of messages and information that may not be true. So you are already warned that you need to pay attention and be suspicious of the talks, of the social media activity, and be careful not to be trapped believing things that may not end up being true. There could be also cyber attacks, secret attacks, virtual attacks, actions that are deceitful, even in your personal life. Make sure that you, when you answer the phone, you're not giving away your identity, your social security number, your bank account number to people you don't know. So you need to make sure that you can trust the other person, and that information is actually needed, and is not used for fraud. So there could be treachery, acts of treason, including in conflicts with neighbors, with siblings, with co-workers, but also at the level of the country, there could be conflicts between brothers and sisters, people of the same conflicts, especially verbal attacks and aggression, mainly between people of the same country. But also there could be problems with neighboring countries, especially about borders, because Neptune dissolves the frontiers, the borders. So this Mars could have problems. So at the personal level, you may feel very low energy, which translates at the war level, for example, that the army may not have the desire or the energy to invest in aggression, right? So one of the important things to consider here is that Mars rules the 5th house and the 12th house of Scorpio, the 5th house in Aries and the 12th house in Scorpio. The 12th house is about the secrets in the country. It's about issues that are not in the public view, like conspiracies, secret enemies, espionage, also occult dealings and associations, underhanded opposition to the country, secret service, self-undoing as well, measures or actions of the country that end up being against it, subversive activity, treason even, and also the fall from power. So we can expect the power of the country to be at stake. So another layer of the issue is that Mars is out of bounds, and Mars out of bounds for 7.5 months. So I don't remember having seen for so many years Mars out of bounds for this long. This is a long period, and again, it covers the same period from October to May this time. So it's more than March. But from October to March is the most critical period, and it continues. So Mars out of bound, what is it? Mars out of bounds is acting like Uranus. It's a Mars that is aggressive and is impulsive and is exaggeratedly independent, and it's when initiating action is completely without reins. So it is like a horse that has lost the bridles. So also ruling the 5th house. The 5th house rules diplomacy, and let me tell you what else. The 5th house rules places of enjoyment. Just a minute, I will find out. Yes, So it rules places of enjoyment, as I said, public places of recreation, all public, right? Because it's about the country. The popularity, the aristocracy, because it's the natural house of Leo, right? So it is the market speculation, is business speculation, and also imperialism, the ammunition of the country at war, and also diplomats. So the diplomatic business is also the fifth house. So you can imagine that Mars in square to Neptune, and later on in trine to Saturn as well, and we'll see the dates, all within the same period, it will affect the 12th house as I described, and the fifth house. So all those issues will be mainly weakened, because there will be weakened defenses. It will be the defenses of the country will be debilitated because of the Neptune influence. So it will have to use the strength of the trine to Saturn, we will see, to strategize, to be more efficient in their defenses. So it's the fifth house also rules public buildings and the school system and national galleries and places where people go for entertainment, right? For enjoyment. And the vacation, for enjoyment in general. So and Mars in Gemini will out of bound, will have an excessive amount of gossip spread. Mars in Gemini is doing too many things at the same time and not finishing any at all. As I said, the influence of Neptune will be very, very debilitating for Mars. And it's a scattered energy. So it could, as I said, instigate fights among brothers, also being delusional and having wrong beliefs, wrong ideas based on faith, on people who I hear say, so that's it, I believe in it. So be careful with what you watch in TV or you watch on YouTube or on social media, what you read, except that is really based on facts, on data that is reliable, on sources that are very reliable of information. So then we have the trine with Saturn that starts again the same period, approximately September 28, 2022, then November 28, 2022, and March 30th, 2023. So you see, it's the same period from October to March, and even beyond, right? April and May, as we saw Mars going out of bound. So this is actually helpful, as I said, because Saturn calls for more restraint and to have actions that are more efficient. The force that is used in a more organized way. So if, for example, if a country participates in a war, having Mars trine Saturn will help the country organize their forces in a better way, and also work more efficiently. So This actually also helps to plan strategically and in using tactics that are very targeted. So this is a good support for this Mars that is scattered all over the place. You know, Saturn puts some discipline, some regulations, some restraint, some you know, method of doing things. So it's very helpful. So, and then if that is not enough, then we have the solar eclipse in the 12th house and the lunar eclipse in the 6th house. November 8, 2022 is the most significant. However, we start feeling the effects since already the full moon or the new moon in Libra that we already had at the end of September. But the closer we are to the eclipses, the stronger the energy would be. And remember, 12th house is all the secrets of the country, all the secret dealings, all the espionage, as I said. And in the 6th house, now we have public records, public data clerks, public employees and services, the armed forces and police. So November 8th is the day of elections. And we have to consider as well where, since if we go back to, well, let's finish with the eclipses. So here we have eclipses that are affecting the axis of things that are not working very well. So things that need fixing, that conflicts, debts. So the axis of the 6 and the 12 usually in a personal chart mean the axis of healing and or illness. So, but translated to a country's chart, there are things that are not clear, things that are out of balance that need to be repaired, fixed. And here we are, if we in 6th house is also the healthcare system, the welfare system. So those things are very crucial and have this eclipse will have an influence, very impacting influence on those subjects. So we can expect that during the election day, since it falls on it, so the public employees may have problems. Public records may not be well stored, or they might represent some problem coming from the 12th house, you know, the secret things that may be subversive. For example, groups may interfere with the election paperwork and the electronic system. So there could be espionage, 12 houses espionage, and what else did I say? Is the underhanded opposition, occult associations. So groups of people that are secret enemies of the country. In secret service, self-undoing, subversive activity, and treason. So from one eclipse, there could be groups that are complotting against the elections, for example, and they will have an influence on the public records, public data, public employees and services, and the armed forces may intervene. And that may be affecting also the healthcare system, the welfare system. If there is a hacking, for example, in some governmental system, it could interfere with so many things, you know, because it's the public records, right? Public records. So, and this information about the meanings of the houses, I obtained it from Miss Halding, the astrologer she wrote a book on the meanings of the 12 houses. So I read it from her, and also from astrologer Michael Mackenzie. So I combined the meanings that they wrote about. His book is called House Keywords and More, Michael Mackenzie. So that's why I'm explaining these things. So in order to finish, I would like to say that well, this is my contact information if you have questions, or if you would like to follow me. These are my social media contacts and my email. You have it here if you'd like to order a reading with me. But before I go, I would like to go back and when let's see. So here, when Mars is in Mars return, right? Let's go to Mars return. October 5th, 2022, I would like to point out that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, therefore is the lord of this Mars return in the USA chart. And October 5 here, Mercury is in Virgo. And the 3 times Mercury is in mutable signs, because November 24, Mercury is in Sagittarius. And in March, Mercury is in Pisces. So we see here Mars return that is ruled by a Mercury that is mutable, flexible. There are adjustments and adaptations to make. Especially in communications, right? As I said, there is a transitional period as well. Mutable signs are all about transition, adjustments, adaptations, changes, but there are no drastic changes, but kind of a flow of change that goes more as a natural flow, right? So that I thought that was important to consider, since Mercury rules Gemini. So then I will end this here, and I hope you got some ideas regarding this period for the United States, and you can you can plan accordingly, right? So I wish you good luck in everything, and please vote, right? So thank you for listening, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.